Good morning, Cougs. You are listening to Slice of Seattle on KUGR Cougar College Radio. It's a sports talk show where I'm giving you updates, hot takes, and hopefully talk to some important people. It is a rainy day on the Palouse today, and it is a solo job up in the booth today. It's just me. Unfortunately, everyone is home for Thanksgiving, so it's a little lonely up here, but we make do with what we got. Let's jump in. Let's talk about Cougar football. Look, last Saturday, you go to New Mexico to play against the Lobos. You take an absolutely horrible loss. That was bad. It was horrible. It was awful. I mean, you're playing against not a football school. The Lobos were not a football school. They were shocked that they won that game. Defense was just not that great. Offense was okay. John Mateer was trying to carry us through that game, but one guy can't put the whole team on his back. That's just, it's not going to work. I mean, defense has just got to be better. Stop a team that's not really that good from putting up that amount of points on us. We're a much better football school than that, and it's especially not helpful now that we're today at, I believe, 4:00. We're playing against OSU for basically the Pac-12 championship. It's not good to be coming off a loss against a horrible team, and that was in the game against New Mexico. That was the first time that New Mexico has beat a ranked opponent in, I believe, 20 years. So they were losing their minds after that game. You never want to be the team that's on the other side of an upset. It sucks. It's awful. It feels horrible. I sat down on Saturday to watch that game, expecting to have a nice, calm, amazing Saturday evening watching us beat the Lobos, and instead I was absolutely enraged. It was awful. And again, it's not good that you're coming off that going into this game against OSU. OSU, I'm not going to say they're the best football team, but you kind of want to have a little bit of confidence, a little bit of energy going into that game. You don't want to be coming off a loss to a horrible football team. It's just not the way you want it to go. So it's horrible. It's really frustrating. I'm excited to see how this game's going to go. I'll probably listen to the radio call for the OSU game. I want to see us get a win. I want to see us be the Pac-12 champions this year. Granted that we're the only two teams in the Pac-12 right now. I'm excited for when we expand in the coming years, so that'll be good. But hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully we play better than we did against the Lobos, because that was really frustrating. So, but no, let's jump into it. Let's talk about the Mariners, some of the news about the offseason for them. The first thing I want to talk about is I found out this yesterday. So Josh Rojas and Sam Haggerty are both officially free agents. The Mariners are not going to extend anything to them for the 2025 season. Look, do I like Josh Rojas? I absolutely love Joshy Rojas. He is fun to watch. He's a great defensive third baseman. I think third base is definitely where he plays his best. For the 2024 season, he looked great in that spot. I loved him there. He looked great. Defensively, phenomenal. Can he hit the ball, though? Yeah, but not consistently. He had a couple good games, but he also had horrible games too. So that's the thing. This Mariners team needs consistency. We need consistent hitters who can day after day after day put up great games at the plate. And currently, we don't have that. And that's part of the reason why we didn't make playoffs in 2023 and 2024. So I understand if you want to let a guy go like that because he's not a consistent hitter. Do I like letting guys go to free agency? Not really. I don't like it. I feel like there are better options. I just never like watching a guy just walk out the door for nothing, especially because of the whole Teoscar situation. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm really worried that he's going to go to someone else and actually start clicking, and we got him before his prime or something like that. But yeah, no, I understand the thinking behind it. You got to free up some space on the roster, and if you're not a consistent hitter, you got to go. So sucks for Josh Rojas. Same thing for Sam Haggerty. Look, I love Swaggerty. He's absolutely fun to watch. Utility guy, could hit the ball decently well, but it's the same thing. It's consistency. He's not a consistent hitter. He can't come in day after day after day and get hits and be productive. He was more of a play, once every 10 games. That was his whole thing. Granted, was he with us for the 2022 playoff run? Yeah, he was great. His role was mainly just come in and be a pinch runner and just steal bases. I love that. He's a base thief. That's what he does. He's fast. He's super athletic. Do I like seeing him go to free agency? Not really. I don't like watching guys go to free agency. It just feels lazy to me. Just letting guys walk out the door. But, I mean, I understand you're not producing. You got to free up some space, get some more guys on that roster. So it sucks to see because I like both those guys. I like Josh Rojas. I love Sam Haggerty. I like the utility guy from St. Haggerty. I like the third base play from Josh Rojas, but they both got to go. I understand it. Free up a little bit of space. And then the other bit of news I want to talk about too is there's been some buzz about whether or not the Mariners should sign Justin Turner for the 2025 season or if they should go and get Carlos Santana. And look, if you're asking me whether they should sign Santana or Turner, I will tell you 100% go sign Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana, I think he's the veteran presence on this team that you need. And sure, Turner could also be that veteran presence. He's a little bit older. He's been in the league for a while. He's not the kind of veteran presence I think this team needs. You look at Carlos Santana, who was a former Mariner. He played for us on the 2022 season when we made it to the playoffs, right? And the main reason that when I talk about the veteran presence that I think is really important is his connection with Julio. When he was with the Mariners playing with us in 2022 when we made the playoffs with Julio, Julio played some of his best baseball we've seen. It's just a fact. He was putting together one of his best seasons in 2022 with Carlos Santana because I think Carlos Santana brings out the good side of Julio. There's something about the chemistry between Carlos Santana and Julio Rodriguez that we need to bring back because Carlos Santana, he's a presence that really vibes and meshes with Julio, and he helps to just make Julio a better hitter. That's just what he does. And just a better player all around. And I don't think Justin Turner is doing that with Julio. Because if we want to make the playoffs, if we want to be a good team next year, we need Julio to actually start producing. Because he had a so-so season in 2023, had a super slow 2024 season, kind of turned it up. He did put together a 2020 season, but 2024 was one of the worst seasons I think we've seen from Julio. It was horrible. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after Carlos Santana left, Julio kind of started to fall off. I think I would put money on the fact that if you brought Carlos Santana back to the Mariners, you will see the 2022 Julio Rodriguez, who's a home run derby contender, who's hitting home runs, who's consistently hitting, who's playing the best possible baseball he possibly can. Because that's what Carlos Santana does when he's on this team with Julio. He brings out the best in him. So if you're asking me between Justin Turner and Carlos Santana, which one you want to fill that spot? I would say to fill a DH spot, basically, and maybe play first base occasionally, you go Carlos Santana. That is 100% who you go with. I think it's the best possible move you can make. And so the other thing I want to talk about, too, with the Mariners is that basically, looking at this offseason and just in the following years, there's a couple of things that can happen here. So look, the main problem that we need to fix right now is getting hitters, is bringing hitters onto the team who can consistently produce for us so that, because if we have consistent hitters, we have a decent infield, we have a decent outfield, we have decent fielders. That's not a problem. We have one of the best pitching staffs in all baseball. That's not a problem. It's hitting. Hitting is what is stopping us from making it to the playoffs. That is 100% the problem. And so one of the solutions you could look at is trading some of your pitchers, some of the people from your bullpen to go get hitters. Do I think that that's something that we should do? No, absolutely not. I really don't think we should be trading pitchers to get hitters because we have a really, really great pitching staff that's dominant that could help carry a so-so hitting team to a playoff run. So I wouldn't risk giving up any part of that. I think you try and keep as many of the pitchers that you have in your staff on the team. You hold on to them. You don't let them go because they're going to help you in the long run. Now, what I do think you might want to do is we got a lot of prospects in our farm system who can hit the ball. Cole Emerson being a great example. Is it going to take a few years for them to get to the big leagues? Yeah, it's going to take a while. So there are two options with that. You wait for the prospects you have already in your system to come up to the major leagues and be able to hit for you consistently and put together a playoff contending team, but that takes a few years, and it takes a while. It takes a while of just kind of sucking and not making the playoffs, which kind of sucks. That's the long-term solution. The short-term solution is you trade those prospects. You trade them in exchange for some hitters or some players who can fill in the lineup and hit consistently and maybe get us to a playoff run sooner. Give the playoff run this season, 2025, 2026. Now, so that's the thing. So you have the short-term and you have the long-term solution in terms of getting us to the playoffs. Personally, I'm not sure which one I want to go with. I personally want to see us make the playoffs next year. But do I want to see some of these prospects we have in our system who've maybe played in Seattle, who have adjusted to the Marine layer, who know how to play here, who feel comfortable here, come up, play for us, be absolutely phenomenal, and we have a year after year of going to the playoffs. That's what I want to see. Do I want to sacrifice that for, a short-term couple of guys who can hit, maybe get us a playoff run? Not really. I mean, there's the impatient part of me that wants us to go to the playoffs next year and go for the next couple of years, but then there's the other side of me that wants to see us be good with the guys we have in our farm system. So it's a tough decision. You don't know what ownership's going to do yet. We'll figure it out. But yeah, a lot of interesting moves that they can make during this offseason. So we'll see what the Mariners do. But moving on, let's talk about the Seahawks. Absolutely beautiful win against the 49ers. Absolutely beautiful. It was a defensive masterclass. I mean, you have a pretty decent offense in the 49ers, right? Granted, they are missing George Kittle, which I think was part of the reason why we were able to win that. George Kittle was hurt, not in the game. That's one of your main top receivers, not in the game for you. But at the same time, I think it was McCaffrey's second game back from his injury. So they have McCaffrey back on the field, one of the best running backs in all of football. We locked them down. We locked down that 49ers offense, stopped them completely. And then, of course, the offense, I would say, for the Seahawks, I didn't say that they put together a decent game. Do I think they put together the best game that they possibly could have? Not really. It was kind of so-so. I still don't think the offense for us is producing 100% of what they are capable of. I think they are much better than that. Metcalf was back. He put together a decent game. Jackson Smith and Jigba putting together phenomenal numbers right now for us. He's fun to watch. I love seeing him on the field. I love seeing him make catches, extending drives, just being an absolute playmaker. Super fun to watch. He was one of the standouts in that game. I loved him in that game. The other bit of news, too, I want to talk about. So Connor Williams, center for the Seahawks, as a lot of people probably know, retired for personal reasons shortly before that 49ers game. So we put in Olu Uluwatini, who's our backup center, basically, for us, played for that 49ers game. He played okay. He played decently. Do I think he played better, worse than Connor Williams? Not really. There was the one snap pretty early in that game where he sent it about 10 feet over the head of Geno Smith, which is not helpful. That doesn't help us at all. That hurts us significantly. It hurts Geno. It makes it really hard for Geno to be able to get anything done. Granted, though, what I will say, when I saw that happen early in that game, when that snap went over his head, I immediately got flashbacks to the Bills game, to the Rams game, where I was just thinking, like, man, it's just Geno's going to fall apart, and the cracks are going to start to show. And what I was really shocked to see was Geno Smith. He's learning. He was able to not let it get to him, put together a great game, was able to kind of put the team on his back a little bit and carry us to a win. He had the rush for a touchdown with 12 seconds left in order to win that game for us. Absolutely beautiful. So it's great to see Geno being the leader that we know he's capable of being. So when something bad happens early in that game, you have a snap go 10 feet over your head, you don't collapse. You don't crumble up. You just show why you're the leader of that team. You show why you're the QB, why what you do is important, that you lead this team to a win like that. And I love to see it. It's absolutely beautiful. Geno's playing the brand of football that I know and we know that he is capable of playing because he is a phenomenal QB. The other thing, too, with Geno is if you look at the stats for it, he is one of the lowest average amount of time allowed in the pocket. That is horrible. And it's been a problem for years with the Seahawks, to be honest. Having an O-line that isn't really strong and kind of crumbles. It's not a lot of time for Geno to get a playoff. And he's trying his hardest. He's a good quarterback. Geno's put up some great numbers despite the fact that he's got kind of a not great center, a horrible O-line who can't really protect him very much, doesn't give him a lot of time, and he still finds a way to make plays. He's an absolutely beautiful quarterback to watch. I like watching Geno play, and I'm glad to see that right now he's starting to be more of a leader. He's starting to realize that he's got to start to act like a leader, and that's what he did in that 49ers game. He played absolutely phenomenal. I love it. It's great to watch. So I'm glad that he's actually starting to fill in that role of being a leader, not letting these mistakes by his teammates get to him, able to actually put together a good game. And the other thing with the Seahawks, too, I want to talk about is we are ranked 4th in the league at the moment for penalties against, right? In that 49ers game, we had significantly fewer penalties. And it reflects on the fact that we won that game. We had fewer penalties pushing us back, killing drives, and we were able to actually put up enough to beat the 49ers. So, and a lot of players, I think DK Metcalf was talking about too after that game, is the fact that the Seahawks they're trying to play cleaner football. We recognize that. If you look back at that Bills game, which was, again, like I think I remember after that game, I said it was like one of the worst games I've ever seen in my entire life. That had, I believe it set the season record for 2024 at the moment for most penalties in a game. It was, I want to say it was close to 30. It was a lot. It was a lot of penalties. And it was really, wasn't fun to watch. It was undisciplined. It was awful. And so leading into that 49ers game, a lot of players were talking about how in practice they're literally practicing during their practices how to not draw as many penalties, playing cleaner football in practice, and it translated into the game during the 49ers. And everyone on that team was talking about the fact that they need to play cleaner football, and they did. They played cleaner football, less penalties in that 49ers game, and we won. So you got to do the same thing in the game against the Cardinals. We're playing tomorrow at around 12 o'clock, I believe. Sunday football against a division opponent, and the Cardinals have been hot. They have been playing really well. They're leading the division at the moment. You got to put up a great game against them. Because look, you just beat the 49ers, division opponent. You lost to the Rams against a division opponent. That sucks. But if you can go today, after a win against the 49ers, put together the defense that you put together against the 49ers, put together a slightly better offensive production, and you clean up the football, you have a chance of beating the Cardinals. You 100% could totally beat the Cardinals tomorrow. It is possible. I want to see it happen because I know that we're capable of doing that. We just got to put everything together because that's the thing for the Seahawks. We have a good defense. We have a good offense. But one is off and one is on, and you got to have both of them on at the same time and mix in playing clean football. All three of those together, you put all three of those together, we can win games against good teams like the Cardinals. 100% full stop. So I'll be watching tomorrow. I want to see us pick up a win because that would be ideal against a division opponent. It's an important game. Mike McDonald's talking about the fact he's telling all of his guys on that team that they should be treating tomorrow's game like a home playoff game. Because if they approach it with that mindset, they will go in and win that game. They will catch the Cardinals off guard. They'll play with more intensity, play cleaner football, play better, and they will win that game. And that's what I want to see tomorrow because that's fun football to watch. Not like the Bills game, not like the Rams game. I want to see the football we played in the 49ers game, and even slightly better than that, because we can win games like that. So that's all I'll talk about for the Seahawks at the moment. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Kraken. Look, 4-game winning streak. You win against Vegas, Columbus, Chicago, and the Islanders. I was hyped to see that. Look, Vegas, that's a pretty decent, they're first in the Pacific Division right now. You get a good win against them. Columbus, kind of bottom of the barrel. Chicago, really bottom of the barrel. And then the Islanders, kind of middle of the pack. They're not really that great this year. They've kind of fallen off in the past couple of years. But, I mean, a 4-game winning streak is a 4-game winning streak. I love to see it. And then it was broken by the Rangers. And then you get a shutout, 3-0 against the Predators. Joey Decord gets another shutout. Absolutely love it. Super, super fun to watch. And one of the things I want to talk about, though, is following that win against the Predators, I was looking at the standings for the Pacific Division. Right now, the Kraken are ranked 6th in the Pacific Division. When I saw that, I was a little shocked because I didn't feel like we were playing that bad. I feel like we're playing decent hockey, we're playing okay, but we're just slightly below middle of the pack in the Pacific Division. And I was really confused. And then, of course, I looked at the fact that we're in a very competitive division. You got Vegas, you got the Kings, you got Calgary, you got the Canucks. These are good teams you're playing against. Tough competition. And if you look at every other division, you look at, right now, the Kraken are perfectly at 500, 9-9, right? You look at every other 6th place team in the other divisions of the NHL, they are all below 500. We're the only 500 team in the NHL who's ranked 6th. So, at the end of the day, what I want to talk about with this is that we have a very competitive division. And the goal this year is to make playoffs. Just make playoffs and then play decent hockey and go as far in the playoffs as you possibly can. That should be the goal. That should be the goal of every Seattle team at the moment. Make playoffs, please. That's the goal. Because making playoffs is absolutely fun to watch. It's fun to go to those games. Seattle sports fans love it. So just make the playoffs. That should be the goal. But right now, the Kraken are not playing at the level to make a playoff spot. if in our division at least, we're playing against good teams. We got to compete with great teams. And it can't be like a Mariners situation where we have to hope for good teams to play poorly, because that's not going to happen. Good teams play good. Poor teams play poorly. And if you're competing against good teams, they're going to play good. So you got to play good. You can't be kind of middle of the pack and be mediocre and expect to get a playoff spot. And that's kind of how we're playing at the moment. We're 9-9, perfectly 500. We got to step it up a little bit. We 100% need to. We got a game against the LA Kings tonight, or today actually, sorry. Around this time, I think puck drops at 1 o'clock. That's an important game for you to win against a decent Kings team. Go in LA, you're starting a road trip, beat the Kings, start it off right, and start to gain some ground in the division. Because sixth place is not going to do it. You got to start climbing the ladder a little bit. And you can't hope for good teams to play poorly. I always will say that. Good teams don't play poorly. Good teams play good. And if you want to make playoffs, you got to play good. So, the other thing I want to talk about too, Daniel Sprong finally got a couple games in there with the Kraken, coming back. Former Kraken, trade for him. He's playing pretty decently. He's just filling in kind of, I think, on that fourth line. Filling in, doing his job, just being a team player, which you love to see. I like that. I like watching Sprong play. I think he's a fun hockey player to watch. He fits in with this team. He's played with us before. And I think the culture that we have right now for the Kraken is going to be good in terms of pushing us far. We have the culture. We have the players for it, especially now we brought on Sprong. We just got to start playing our game of hockey. What doesn't help at the moment is you got two key injuries right now on the team. And I'm talking about Vince Dunn and Jordan Eberle. And so those are two, invaluable players on the team right now. Vince Dunn, who's an absolute playmaker, super fun to watch on defense. He's great. I love watching Vince Dunn play. And he'll be back soon. I think he's got like a week or 2 weeks left until he's healed. He can come back and play. So they've been missing him sorely. His presence has been missed on the ice. And then, of course, you got Jordan Eberle, the captain of the Kraken right now. He, today, I think I was just looking up, just had surgery on his pelvis. He's going to be out for 3 months. That's 3 months without your captain. That's a huge blow. And as a team, we got to clutch up. Because I know you're missing two great guys, but you got to just keep playing good hockey. It's two guys who, like I was saying before, absolute playmakers. Their presence is going to be missed on the ice, and it's hurting us significantly. But we need the guys who are playing really well to keep playing really well. And that's, Jared McCann, Joey Decord, keep just playing good hockey, helping our team win games. And it starts tonight against the Kings. Got to go put up a good game against them so you win against a division opponent and you just get the momentum going for this road trip. You start the road trip right. You got to win against the Predators. You win against the Kings, 2-game streak. You win against the next guy, 3-game streak, 4-game streak. Just keep going, keep winning, keep the juices going. Because right now we've got the culture. The culture right now for the Kraken is absolutely fun to watch. A lot of great guys. Brandon Montour, Chandler Stevenson, guys coming in, filling in, being veteran guys, making this team fun to watch. It's fun to watch Kraken games again. Absolutely love it. It's super fun. So I'm going to be listening, watching that game probably later tonight. I really hope to pick up a win against the Kings, start a little streak. That's what I want to see. But, yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode. It's getting close to Thanksgiving, so I hope everybody has an absolutely beautiful Thanksgiving. It's going to be the last show for a couple weeks now. I'll probably be back around December. But thank you all so much for listening. Remember, it is a great day to have a great day, and go Cougs.